Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Relation Shots, the place to get practical relationship advice that actually works in your relationship. If you want a free guide to intimacy, you'll see a link in the description area below. If we can help you in any area of your relationship, maybe it's our relationship blueprint course, our marriage membership, or any of the other classes or resources you can check out in the links below. We'd love to be a part of your relationship journey. So I recently came across a quote that said, "Love is like a language. If you speak it, it flows more and more easily. If you don't, you start to lose it." The idea is simple, that lifelong love requires consistent, intentional effort in order to do it. It's not neutral. If you do not intentionally invest in love, it begins to fade over time. So whether you like it or not, lifelong love is a process of seeking and losing connection and then returning to try to retain or regain that emotional connection. You don't just find it one time and it sticks for your whole life. It's a constant process over and over again. So in this video, I want to give you 4 thoughts on how to maintain or increase or maybe even regain emotional intimacy in your relationship. And so according to Dr. Sue Johnson, who founded Emotion-Focused Therapy, these are 4 ideas that you can implement in your relationship to make sure that maybe you're gaining emotional intimacy, maybe you already have it and you want to maintain it, maybe you want to strengthen it, or maybe you have lost it and you're trying to regain it back in your relationship. You should consider doing one or all of these 4 things. Number 1 is celebrate the good. I know that's super deep. I know it seems obvious. But what happens for a lot of us is that we fail to celebrate the little moments that end up meaning a lot in the relationship. And so maybe you're in the car and your spouse or partner reaches over and grabs your hand or touches your leg and it makes you feel connected and belonging, but you're not going to say anything about it in the moment. Maybe they bring you a cup of coffee without you even asking. Maybe they compliment you about something. Maybe it's the way they introduced you to a work colleague. Or here's my amazing wife or my phenomenal husband. It just makes you feel good, but you don't really address it or say anything in the moment. And so we have these little moments that we forget to celebrate. And if you listen to any of my videos, you probably heard me say this before, but whatever you celebrate gets repeated. And so if we want to consistently create connection in our relationship, we need to celebrate the moments that we often tend to overlook, not because they're not important, but just because we get busy and don't think about really addressing them. So if your partner or your spouse does something that impacts you in a positive way, I want you to talk about it. I want you to celebrate the good that's happening in the relationship. Maybe it's encouragement, maybe it's some level of support, maybe it's affection, maybe it's some kind act, whatever it might be. Celebrate the good so that it can be repeated in your relationship, because those are the things that keep us emotionally connected. Thought number 2 is develop separation and reunion rituals. Basically, rituals are anything we do on a consistent, intentional basis that lead to greater connection in a relationship. I did a whole video on the importance of shared meaning, of which rituals is one of those parts that really tend to connect couples. And so it's those things that we do regularly over and over again that increase our connection. And so a lot of us do this unconsciously. If you have kids, you think about when you drop your kids off for school, you probably give them a kiss goodbye. And then I see in our neighborhood, when the bus pulls up and the kids get off and the parents are all standing there, generally the little kids will run and hug their parents on reunion again. And so sometimes we do this unconsciously with our kids, may do it unconsciously in the relationship, but those moments are important. When you talk about attachment and relationship, experts often identify 2 key moments are the separation moments and the reunion or meeting moments again. And so I know a lot of couples who, kiss each other goodbye every time they leave the house. That's a ritual for separation. I know many, when they come in the door, the first thing they do is go over and give each other a hug or a kiss. But I know lots of other couples that don't do that. Many don't even say goodbye when they leave. Many, when they come home, the first thing on their mind is, I need to get undressed or change clothes, or I need to grab a drink and relax and sit on the back porch. I need a moment to unwind. And so they don't have these rituals of, when they're apart, coming back together again to increase that connection. So for you, it may be when you leave to work, And when you come back home again, it may be some specific rituals around morning and nighttime. Maybe before you get out of the bed, you give a kiss. Maybe when you get into bed at night, you touch or hug or kiss or speak or do something. It may be moments when you know you're going to go on a trip and be gone for a few days, where you leave notes at home, or the person who's at home leaves notes in luggage. So there's a variety of ways that you can create these separation and reunion rituals. But those things really seem to increase connection, because it speaks to the idea that I value you and I'm leaving you. You're important. And when I come home, you're the first thing that I want to engage with, because again, you're important to me and I value. So if you don't have some of those rituals, you may consider implementing both separation and reunion rituals into your routine, and that will increase emotional connection as well. Number 3 is create a resilient relationship story. Your resilient relationship story is just the lens through which you look back on your relationship, the highs and lows, and how we got to where we are presently in the relationship. And so what we do when it comes to story really is what we're telling ourselves about the experience we've had. Oftentimes in relationship, it's not so much the experience that we've had, but it's the story we tell ourselves about the experience that really matters, because we tell ourselves stories, and then the stories that we've told ourselves tend to shape the way that we look back and see the relationship in general. So if you create a resilient relationship story, it will help you to move forward in those difficult times, where you may look back and go, here are the moments where there was disconnection. Here are the ways that we fought through that disconnection or those moments of failure or disappointment. And then here's our relationship now. And when you create that resilient story, it will help carry you through those difficult times, carry you through those times when you feel disconnected, and really make you want to fight for the emotional connection, knowing we have been through some stuff. We've journeyed some stuff. We've battled through some stuff. There's value in the relationship we have now because of some of the stuff we've been through. So when it comes to creating a resilient relationship story, I want to give you 5 steps to consider. Number 1, come up with 3 adjectives to describe the relationship when it was stagnant or difficult. That may be contentious, disconnected, lonely, whatever. Number 2, come up with 2 verbs to describe how you behaved. I withdrew, I attacked, I pushed you, so you turned away. Number 3, come up with 1 key moment when you saw things differently. It might be like the night that I saw you crying, or I realized how much you were hurting, and the moment we had on vacation when I remembered how much I cared about you. Step number 4, come up with 3 adjectives to describe a relationship when it's good, like fun, connected, enjoyable. And then number 5, 1 thing you're going to do regularly to keep your connection. Maybe cuddling at night, maybe praying together, maybe weekly date nights, maybe kissing more. What you need to do is create a resilient relationship story that will help carry you through the moments when you may want to give up or when you don't feel as connected. And that will be a connecting point for you to again say, we used to be here. Here were the things we were doing that weren't good. Here were the things we begin to change. And here are the moments we're having now. And that resilient relationship story will give you a strong foundation for your relationship. And thought number 4 is craft a future love story. Listen, dream about where you want to be. We've talked a lot in many of my videos about having vision and having goals for your relationship and how those goals are uniting. But you need to dream about, what do you want to see your relationship look like in 5 years, in 10 years? What are the dreams that you're pursuing? What is the lifestyle that you're living? What are the moments that you're enjoying, the experiences? What are the things that you're doing together? You need to craft a future story that you're excited about. If we don't, oftentimes getting through difficult moments is much easier if we see the light at the end of the tunnel. If we see, if I do hard work right now, it will result in fill in the blank. I'm much more willing to push through the pain and the hard work now in order to get the result I want. If you have no future vision, if you have no excitement about the future love story that you want to live with your spouse, you're not going to put in the effort to communicate, to connect, and to have the intimacy that you really desire. So you need to create that future love story that will serve as a guide for where you want to go and ultimately where you want to be. So there are 4 thoughts for you to consider on increasing, maybe maintaining, or getting back the emotional connection that you want in your relationship. If you're thinking to yourself, man, that sounds like a lot of work. Yeah, welcome to marriage. It takes intentional effort. in order to get what you want. It doesn't just come naturally. It's not going to come easy, and you're not going to drift into it. We have to be intentional. And so consider these 4 thoughts on increasing your emotional connection. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment in the comment section below. Let's talk about what you do to increase emotional connection, or how maybe some of these can work in your relationship. Again, if we can help you strengthen your relationship, we're here. We got the resources, we got tools, we got courses, we got membership. So check out the description area below for any links on how we can walk with you in your relationship. And until next time, we'll see you right back here on Relation Shots.